tell Jack about the dowry.
Welcome to the Progress Texas Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Progress Texas Happy Hour. I'm podcasting director Chris Mosier. Now, we don't frequently get the chance to cross over into the sports world on this wonky political pod, but we are proud to jump at the chance today. Brad Stuver has been the beloved goalkeeper of the capital city's first major professional sports franchise in any sport, Austin FC, since the team's inaugural season in 2021. And off the field, has established himself as one of American pro soccer's most recognized champions of community activism, along with his wife, Ashley, with whom he leads the Brad and Ashley Stuver Foundation, which is dedicated to fostering progress through empathy and advocacy. This is a great story. But even those of us who are very busy, dedicated to our careers, dedicated to our families, can and must find time and find a way to give back in any way that we can. So super proud to welcome Brad Stuver. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Very cool. So tell me to start with, you're well known in Austin. You're a bit of an athletic legend around Austin. I've been to a handful of matches. And of course, when a big save happens, the crowd erupts in stew, which is really, really awesome. So it's really nice to have you here. Tell me about yourself not from your sports life, but from your advocacy life, and also, figure Ashley in on this and as well. Tell me about you guys coming up with the idea to launch a foundation, and maybe some background on what motivated you to do that.
Yeah, so my wife Ashley and I, we met in college, and we've been together ever since. And kind of both of us come from families that really ingrained the idea of community into both of us. We always were volunteering in high school or working with like different groups throughout our time in college. And as I became a professional athlete and was starting to get more of a platform, we were able to kind of utilize that and try and help more people and work with more causes. And it took us a little bit of time to figure out where we wanted to settle in and kind of what causes meant the most to us. And we've worked with a lot of great causes over the years, first in Columbus, then in New York City, and now here in Austin. And we worked with a lot of great organizations, and we thought now was a good time because as I'm getting older and having a little bit more of a platform now because of Austin, we thought it was the right time to start our own foundation. And the foundation is just a fundraising platform. We don't do any programming of our own. We just really wanted to utilize the platform that I've been given because of soccer so that we can kind of have more of a reach to get fundraising that some of these other smaller nonprofits may not have the ability to get.
Very, very good. And that kind of dovetails into the way that your foundation is described on your website. It says that you guys are dedicated to creating a compassionate and inclusive world where every individual is empowered to thrive through heartfelt understanding and consistent advocacy. We strive to bring positive change to the lives of those in need. And of course, that all sounds great. I think we, clearly agree that if there was a bunch more compassion, inclusion, understanding, and positivity in the world, we'd be in a much better place than we may find ourselves at the moment. How do you guys view that mission? As you said, through a fundraising lens, what are the challenges of increasing those much needed qualities in our communities? Like, what kind of barriers do you guys perceive and face?
Yeah, one of the major things that we had talked about when we formed this was, we're both cis, straight, white people. So we have privilege where we can kind of come in and out of these causes. And we didn't want to disappear when it needs most. Like sometimes you see some of these causes hit the mainstream media and then they kind of fade away. And our goal with the foundation was to make a consistent effort and kind of show up for the organizations and the causes that are going through it every day. And we wanted to kind of dedicate ourselves to being consistent allies. And in order to do that, we need to show up every day. We need to learn. On our website, we have an education tool set from a different subset of organizations and people that we've talked to that have helped us learn about different organizations and causes. And one of the biggest things for us is fundraising, especially right now, is probably the most difficult thing for nonprofits across the country.
Sure.
Especially when there are nonprofits that work on things like LGBTQIA plus rights, abortion rights, women's rights, all of these different causes all kind of seem to be getting caught up in mainstream media and being villainized, and it's taking funding away from those organizations. So one of the things about our foundation is we wanted to make it kind of as vague as possible so that when people see our foundation, they just see the Brad and Ashley Stuver Foundation, and they see what we're trying to do and kind of all of those things. But we try to leave it as vague as possible so that we can allow funders to come in and give us money. And it may be like a shift for them because they're not giving to a specific cause, but they're giving to our foundation, which then we can go and give to causes that may not be able to receive that funding because of what's going on in the media and the political climate that we have today.
Right. Well, coming from someone who works in a politically leaning nonprofit media organization, I can definitely agree with you that fundraising is a constant challenge for sure.
Yeah.
And I also noticed looking through the website, Brad, that you guys have done work with at least a couple of organizations that we have done a fair amount of stuff with, including having folks on the podcast, much like you are now, starting with Equality Texas, which is probably our state's, foremost group working towards LGBTQ plus equality and equity. Tell me about your partnership with Equality Texas.
So I actually sit on the board of directors for Equality Texas. I joined the board in 2022. I sat on the C3 side for the past 3 years. I was actually the development committee chair last year. This year, I actually switched over. I am now on the C4 side of Equality Texas, and I am the C4 vice chair of Equality Texas this year. So I got involved because of the executive director that is now at Glad Law. He was kind of the one that I connected with early on when I moved down here, and he told me about the organization and what they're doing. And
Ricardo Martinez is who we're talking about.
yes, Ricardo.
We know Ricardo well.
Yeah, he kind of recruited me, and he's a good friend.
Very good. Another here on the list that we're big fans of is Vow, one of our state's most well-established orgs in the realm of protecting and in Texas attempting to restore reproductive freedom. Tell us about your work with Vow.
So we got connected with Vow through a fellow board member of Equality Texas, and then Ashley actually joined the board of directors for Vow this past spring. So she's sitting on the board of directors for Vow, and we've done annual events that are, we call it the Stuver Social, but we sell tickets for people to take a penalty kick shot on me, and the proceeds of that go to Equality Texas and Vow.
Nice. Have any of those shots gotten past you yet?
Oh yeah, plenty of them. There's a lot of people that are rearing and ready to go.
Been training all week for this. And then also on the website, I really like this, the Laundry Project, which is the website says, the Laundry Project assists lower income families with meeting a basic need, washing clothes and linens, by turning laundromats into community centers of hope. Laundry fees are paid while volunteers assist with laundry services, entertain children, and create a caring space at the laundromat. I think that's really cool. Is that something that you guys are continuing to do?
Yeah. So we got involved with the Laundry Project when we were in Columbus. A high school friend of Ashley's, her husband worked for the organization, and we started doing projects in Columbus, and we took it to NYC, and we held projects in the Bronx, and now here in Austin, we hold projects every year. We have a fantastic base of volunteers that are part of the Austin FC supporters groups and staff. We've partnered with the Texas One Fund, and we've actually had some Texas athletes come out and help us at some of our laundry projects. But we've tried to hold at least 2 or 3 project days over the past few years, and we go into 4 laundromats on project day. spread across the city. And for anybody that walks through the door for those 2 to 3 hours, we'll pay for their laundry services. We're trying to build that up more. And it's one of those things where the more we fundraise, the more projects we can have. So it just goes back to kind of that, the more that we can fundraise, the more we can give back to this community that's given us so much.
Right on. So our audience here, Brad, is pretty dialed in and active, we think, and we're proud of that. But there's, kind of always opportunities, I think, for any of us to up our game. For folks who think that they may not have time in their lives to get more active in community advocacy, you're busy. We're all busy. But what motivation might you and Ashley share? What's your advice to spur people to find that extra time to give back?
Yeah, I think everyone believes that they need to make these big grand gestures to create change. And one of the things that I've found throughout this entire journey is that it's more important just to do small things consistently. We all have lives, we all have jobs and families and commitments that we have to go through. But in order to create change and continually show up for the communities that need us, we just need to do the small things consistently over and over again. Like you said, we're going into a legislative year, and some of the biggest things is just talking to my politicians, talking to your legislators. A lot of these organizations kind of have these email blasts that you can sign your name to, and it'll send it to your legislators. Just these little things that show that you're committed to working with the communities that are working for their rights, like all of these different ideas. But yeah, for me, it's just the small actions that you can do repetitively that make the big difference.
Some people also have a challenge when it comes to, especially political advocacy, especially in a place like Texas, where there may be a fear of alienating a boss, or there may be a fear of, causing problems with work or with family or whatever. Sometimes, to get politically active is to kind of wear your heart on your sleeve, and sometimes in spaces where that might not be so comfortable. What do you say to people who are hesitating because of that sort of fear?
I can say I've been there. I've done that. As a professional athlete, there has always been this stigma that we just need to, quote, shut up and dribble, unquote.
Shut up and play, yeah.
That sports are an escape from reality, that shouldn't be political and all of these things. But at the end of the day, we are all humans. The people that are playing these sports, all of us are just humans. And what we advocate for are things that we truly believe in. When I first came to Texas, it was in 2021. And during that legislative session, there was an anti-trans in youth sports bill up for discussion. And I partnered with Equality Texas, and I authored a op-ed in the Austin American-Statesman, basically defending trans youth's ability to participate in sports in the gender that they identify as. That was a big step for me because as a pro athlete, I never know what the backlash is going to be, especially stepping outside of my comfort zone and speaking on a topic that I'm still learning about. But for me, it was a moment where I truly wanted to take control of my voice. It was something that I was at a point in my life and my career where I knew that I needed to be able to use this platform and use my voice for what I believed in. And whatever the repercussions were going to happen. I was okay with whatever was to come. And that's a tough thing to get to because I understand that jobs come with bills and family costs and all of these things. So it's one of those where you have to weigh how political are you willing to be when you're in a situation where you have to take care of yourself and your family. And it's difficult, but I can tell you from experience that for me, it was probably one of the most enlightening things that I've ever done was stepping outside of my comfort zone and starting to speak a little bit more politically, just because for me, I know that my voice can have an impact, and I think everybody's voice can have an impact. And if it's going to have repercussions in your job or in other things, then for me, I think you're around people that you shouldn't be around because they're not the ones that are going to support you and your family and your ideals. But that's a decision that everyone's going to have to make for themselves. But just talking to people that have done it before kind of helps.
I can definitely relate to all of that, having grown up in Texas myself. And I can also relate to the liberation and the great feeling that you get when you do, get out there and tell the world who you really are and advocate for the things that you believe in. And I think that's, we're at a point where that's probably more scary than it's been at some points in the past, but also more important than it's been at certain points in the past. And so
totally agree.
Definitely can relate to all of that. Brad, anything about the Brad and Ashley Stuver Foundation that we haven't covered that you'd like to throw out there?
No, I mean, we're celebrating our first half a year in operation. We kind of launched in August. We were just so grateful for the folks that have kind of donated and uplifted our organization. We were able to donate to 6 different organizations last year. We raised about $10,000 in the first 6 months. So we were
awesome,
super excited about that. We're looking forward to 2025. And if anybody wants to get more involved or learn about what we do, you can just go to our website or reach out to me at the foundation email address.
Very, very good. And we'll put all that in the show notes as well. Brad Stuver of the Brad and Ashley Stuver Foundation and also Austin FC. Thanks, man, for everything you're doing and for being a brave dude and getting out there and getting after. We appreciate it.
I appreciate the time.
Awesome. Here at Progress Texas, we're in the business of countering the conservative disinformation machine that's largely responsible for the election of Donald Trump. But while that machine is funded by oil billionaires and tech billionaires and religious right-wing groups and more, we rely mostly on everyday Texans who value our hard work and share our belief that a Texas that works for everybody is the Texas we want to live in. We don't do subscriptions. We don't do paywalls because we believe the message of progress is one that everyone should be able to access, learn from, and act upon. So if you become a regular listener, we appreciate it, and we could also use your support. No amount is too small. Thanks to Mary Tadikin, Sandra Maddox, and Wayne Bannister for joining the team lately. Go to progresstexas.org/donate to find out more. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks for listening and for all you do to promote progress in Texas. We'll catch you again next time.